I made a makeshift top to get this machine onto a treadle base so I can give it a spin. This is a leaf from an old table that I cut holes in to fit. Um, and I've got it on one of my old uh, treadle bases. This is a Singer. It's not particularly old. It's one of the newer ones because it's got the different lighter weight legs. Anyway, so it's in the treadle now, and let me set the camera up in a different way so I can show you how it sews, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So here it is, and one of the first things that obviously it doesn't fit correctly. It needs to sit down better, but I wanted to give it a try. It's hard to tell if it's working unless you've got a position to put it in so that you can test it out. Anyway, one of the things that I wanted to mention is when you're working on a treadle, when you're trying to sew on one, and if it feels hard to do, probably is related to the condition of the machine. If the parts are well oiled and everything's moving freely and you've got your belt on at a good tension, see, this isn't too tight. It's tight enough to keep it from slipping, but that's it. And the workings of the treadle itself, everything together, you should be able to do this. Now I'm gonna treadle a few pedals. Now I've got my foot off, and do you see how it continues to spin? There's quite a long period of spinning freely without my even having to touch the pedal. So that's how I know that my belt tension is good and I've got enough oil up through all the parts. I've still got a ton of cleaning to do on this, and if you look at how filthy my fingernails are, you can see how much scraping I've been doing. This bobbin cover is missing. This is from this is a reproduction from a 127, and it fits, but it's not shaped correctly. So I'm able to use it, but I'm going to look for a replacement that fits this. And here is the I'm in the process of cleaning it off, so I don't have the bobbin winder back on, but that's the bobbin, and it would fit in here and spin on the belt to wind the bobbin. Anyway, so I'll show you that another time. And this is junky old thread that was on one of my bobbins. So anyway, this goes into this shuttle, and this is pretty cruddy because it was in that machine for who knows how long and just covered with rust, and every time I pick it off I feel the need to start scraping it, so pardon that. Anyway, so the bobbin goes into the shuttle. There's a groove down here that the thread goes down all the way down to the bottom here, and then it goes back up, and that is how the thread is fed into the workings there. Now this is, like I said, it's a little tight and a little cruddy from being in there for so long, so we'll see how it works. Everything to me looks like it's ready to go, so I think I should be having no trouble. This is the shuttle carrier. I don't know if you can see that as it comes back and forth down there. So this fits in to that. There's a little divot in there that this little prong fits into. That kind of tells you how you've got it, if you've got it in correctly. And I don't. Yes, I do. There we go. Now I'll thread the top. Well, here we go. Here's some thread. So it can go on the spool pin there. There's a little hook at the top. It goes through there. Tension disc here, which is weird. The other fiddle base shuttle machines that I've seen have a different face, where it's just a flat piece of metal that comes off, and usually if I take this faceplate off, the presser foot and the needle bar come off with it. It's more like the faceplate on a white sewing machine, and newer singers have, when the faceplate comes off, it's a separate piece of fancy embossed metal usually, and it comes off, and these parts stay in, and this one it comes out. So anyway, and this is missing a properly operating check spring, and there's really no way to release the tension on it, so I've got to work on this. So, because to release the tension I pretty much have to do it manually. I'm not sure I have the tension set right. We'll see once we get some fabric in it. But anyway, so it comes across here through this, around the tensioner. So it's always across, almost every machine is the same. You come down through whatever tension mechanism there is, and then into the take-up lever. And in this case, we have a hook down here, a little groove that gets you close to the needle, and then that little hook there to keep the thread next to it. I'm going to have to bend that a little bit because that's clearly out of shape. Anyway, then we go through the needle, and I'm trying to do that without sticking my head down in there, but this is a small needle I got in here. I just grabbed whatever was available. Okay, so then we've got that together. If I pull this, that should, yep, and that brought up the bobbin thread, so it looks like we're on the right track. Let's put this slide plate over it and get some fabric. Here's a piece of denim. And we'll see what we can do. Now, this one, the wheel, almost all, I think all singers do this. They turn towards you. Well, still sounds a little clunky, but oh, that's nice stitches. Let's try to see what happens if we change this is, right here is the stitch length regulator, and let's make it too big. So what you need to do is play with it a little bit, and what I'm seeing is I've got a little bit too much looseness on the top, so let's try that. Right is tight, left is loose on the tension. Better. And of course the tension is going to vary depending on what fabric you're using, what thread you're using. Yeah, see, that still needs some work. But my machine isn't balanced, which is to say the base that I've got it sitting on isn't balanced because there isn't a level floor in the house. So I have to, I get a little wobbly when I'm sewing on this because it's not on a level surface. But I'll tell you that. Let's get a little closer here. And still very rattly sounding underneath, so I need under in the race and the shuttle area. So I need to do some more cleaning and oiling and everything, but basically I wanted to see if it worked, and I think you can see that it does. So do a little more cleaning to get rid of that shimmy and that rattle, but I don't know when the last time it sewed was, but it's it's doing a great job now. So anyway, I just wanted to show you the good old Singer that never died, and you know, when I picked it up at the thrift store, the salesperson said, "What are you going to do? Repurpose that into a lamp?" And I just hate it when I see people do things like that. So anyway, I think I see where it needs a little work here. It's this race arm is a little loose, if you can see that. It jiggles, and what you don't want to do is run this thing with the bobbin in it without fabric in it, because it just makes a tangled mess. So if you're going to just run the machine, be sure to have the bobbin out and the needle not threaded, and keep your foot up, because otherwise you're just looking for trouble. So anyway, I think if you I don't know if you can see this, but I need to tighten a little screw down there to make this guy a little more secure, and looks like right in here it needs a little adjusting. So anyway, but they all work pretty well the same, so shouldn't be a hard thing to fix. Anyway, there it is. Happy quilting. Well, up and running. It's in a wobbly cabinet because I don't have it balanced on the floor, but you can see, well, you can see I've got a lot more cleanup to do, but you can see it's making some nice stitches. This is denim, just because it was what I had sitting here. But running like a champ. So they don't make them like that anymore.